What is up? It's Rollin' Dirty coming back at you again with another video. Today I'm riding the Sherman-S and I'm starting out at Snoqualmie Falls. This is a tourist site in Washington, Western Washington, and a lot of people come here to take a look over the lookout up here that I'll show you in just a minute. After this, we will go from here down the hill into North Bend, which is a city right next to this location, and we'll take a look around down there. So this is Snoqualmie Falls, and as you can tell, we've had a little bit of rain because they're really moving right now. This is an old hydroelectric facility, and it's been in use for as long as I can remember. I mean, I grew up out here from early childhood, and Snoqualmie Falls was in operation long before that. There's actually a place you can get down to the bottom, down below. And it's nice on a warm day just because there's a lot of mist. But of course, during the summer here, there's not quite as much water, but it's always moving. It's a picturesque location, and there's always people from all over visiting this site, even when it's raining, even when the weather's not great. Of course, there's more when it's a holiday and it's sunny out, so today's got quite a few people. Now when we go down into North Bend, a couple things to note. North Bend is an old logging town. It's now a city, and used to have a railroad that ran through it to help haul off a lot of that wood. Some of it processed, some of it ready to be processed. The railroad was used for a lot of various commodities such as oil and timber, and you know the drill. The essentials of life in the early 20th century. I didn't see that little kid waving at me, otherwise I would have waved back. I was too, oh. I feel bad. I was too busy waiting for the couple with the dog. Anyway. Makes me feel bad. I've got kids of my own. I know how important it is for them. I mean, it's interesting, you know, kids in the neighborhood think I'm a superhero. When I ride around on this, they don't know it's me. And I think that's probably pretty common for most very young children, because it seems like I get a lot of waves from them. I try to wave back. Missed that one. Alright, now we're heading down the hill, and it doesn't take very long to get to North Bend because it's really just at the bottom of the hill after the roundabout. But it's a nice little town. A lot of the, small-time shops are still there. People do like to walk through this area just as tourists and take a look at the trains, and then also visit the shops and the museums and stuff. I mean, it's all pretty small time, but it's still very interesting because this is a part of our history that is kind of being glossed over these days. You know, what you're about to see up here is what built modern Western civilization, and the generations of today, even my generation, a lot of us don't remember or didn't have a chance to experience how this technology at the time was so revolutionary for the development of our communities and our country. So I appreciate that North Bend has taken the initiative to preserve some of this history. I mean, these are really amazing to look at, and to just think what it must have been like to be operating this machinery back in the day to keep the economy running. Now these roads are kind of asking me to push my Sherman to the max, and I'm not a small boy, as you can tell. So, you know, I don't quite get the top speed some of you littler guys do, and that makes me a little jealous, but it is what it is. If I was jealous enough, I'd lose a good, I don't know, 30 or 40 pounds. It'd do me a lot of good on the top of this unicycle. Look at these trains, though. I mean, this is history. Some of these cars are just, I mean, nearing 100 years old. Maybe some of them are older. I don't know. But it's pretty awesome. Here is a preserved log from a tree that would have been harvested here for timber a long time ago. And they've kept this section under cover for quite a while, so it hasn't rotted. But you can see that it's sitting on a piece of processing equipment. This is a device that would move the log onto a mill so that the log could be milled. And you can't see very clear because the camera doesn't really show this level of detail, but if you're standing next to this thing, you can see there are hundreds of rings on this tree. This tree was probably a couple hundred years old at least. You can kind of see some of the rings there. But I mean, this is an old tree. And, you know, in this area, they were very large when people started logging the area. And now we have trees. I mean, we have even some of this older stuff, but we don't have stuff this large anymore. It'll take another, I don't know, 100 years before that happens, I'm sure. Even where I live, we've got, you know, we've got fairly large trees. A lot of maples, cedars, Douglas firs. And they are majestic to look at, but they are nothing by comparison to what used to be here. And the hillside behind my home it was logged probably about 45 years ago. So it's really just beginning to recover, to start looking like what it used to, and it's nowhere near what it used to look like. I've got stumps on my hillside cedars that are 3 feet across. Some of them 4 feet, 5, 6 feet across. So this place used to have some really large trees, and I'm sure it was very attractive at the time to harvest the timber as a result. Look at this. I think this is an old steam engine right here. A little caboose. I don't know enough about these to give you a broad historical context about what each of them were, but nonetheless, maybe you know more about them than I do, and you can comment below and let me know. This looks like a passenger car. You can see the seats inside. Next one's got like some dining area. Not sure what this car is. This looks a little newer. And then on the left we've got an army car. Don't know the date on that, but it doesn't look modern. Pretty cool. I've actually never been down this close to these cars. Lived in the area for decades and never made a trip down here, but once again the unicycle gets me here. And you know, this is one of the things I really love about riding, is I'm looking for places to ride, and as a result I'm seeing things that I've never seen before. I've been down trails that I've never been down before. You've seen a lot of those videos. I've ridden on streets I've never been down before. I've seen neighborhoods I've never seen before that have always been here in proximity to me, but I've just never had a reason to go down there and frequent them. This obviously looks like a little bit newer car as well. reminds me kind of an Airstream trailer, RV trailer. On the left is kind of like a museum. I didn't go inside here, but you can see we had some folks visiting here ahead of me that look like they're on their way out. I'm going to head back down here and see if I can get a little closer to some of these trains that I rode by on the way on the way down to where I am. There's if I recall, there's a steam engine, there's an old oil tanker. If I recall, the sign on the side of it says it could hold 100,000 pounds of oil just in that car. I don't know what that car is, maybe coal. I think this is the oil tanker. Yeah, Shell. Look at that old Shell oil tanker. Cool, huh? And then, you know, some cargo cars right here. And then this is, I think, the steam engine coming right up here. Look at that thing, dude. That's just awesome. Awesome stuff. Another engine here. Just amazing. It seems like everywhere I go, there's somebody trying to tell me to try vegan. I don't know if you saw that sign on somebody had put in chalk on the walkway here. Now this one's definitely steam. Look how cool that is. I mean, you just don't see this kind of stuff anymore. This was commonplace back in the day, you know, everybody saw a train back in the day. Don't mind the camera shy guy there. He's covering his face even though he's already wearing a mask. And then a crane back there, probably for loading cars. Pretty cool. And they've just kind of let this this yard stay here, fenced off, so that visitors can take a look at it. Pretty awesome. I don't know if any of you have ever ridden over a wet wooden bridge, but it's always a little sketchy with a single tire. This wood is slick. And I think these are the last two cars. There's an engine up here. And, well, I get maybe that's 3 cars. An engine and 2 other cars here that kind of sit at the entry point to the area here. Pretty cool history. Now I'm going to push the max to the max. I'm going into traffic here, and I don't know what I'm going here, probably 43 miles an hour or so. Traffic doesn't seem to mind though. There's a section up here that I have to move to the side roads though, because the speed goes up to 55 miles an hour. It makes me wonder if I shouldn't be getting the new wheel coming out from Extreme Bowl with suspension. It's got a 136 volt motor. Uses C38 motor, which, if any of you recognize, that's the RS high torque motor, but they're running it at 136 volts, so it Has a lot of torque and also a lot of speed. And I believe that wheel's rated at about 55 miles an hour. Somebody big like me, maybe I get like 50. I don't know. Would love to try it out. As you can tell, I'm certainly willing to push it, so we definitely find out what it can do with a big guy like me on it. The direction I'm headed right now is I'm going a little further into North Bend. This is where this mountain here, you can kind of see it coming into view on the side of the screen here. It's called Mount Si. And I wanted to go down here because Mount Si is just, it's beautiful to look at, number one, and number two, it's kind of out in the countryside a little bit, so I knew that there would be a little bit more of a view this way and also a little less traffic. Mount Si is a beautiful place to visit as well. If you ever come up this way, highly recommend hiking the trail. It takes you to the top. Don't mind the jays that will fly down and land on you and beg for food on the hike, as well as there are some darker areas where of the trail where there's a lot of trees that have created kind of a canopy over the trail, and occasionally bats will fly through there while you're hiking through there, and it always freaks people out, but they're harmless. When you get to the top, if it's a clear day, you have a view of the entire valley. It's beautiful. If you go up there on a day where you can't see the top, then you'll be in the clouds when you get there and you won't see much. A lot of folks like to hang glide out this way too. Starting to get some beeps there. But look at that view. I mean, you can see why people like living here. Imagine having a home with that out your window where there's nothing obstructing your view of it. Just incredible. Kind of reminds me of the days when I used to live in Utah. And, you know, everything's got mountains in view in Utah. Utah's just got amazing mountainous views. And really incredible. And we have them here too, but we've got so many hills and so many large trees that the view is often obstructed. But in this case, there's enough open area that you can see the mountain. This was kind of a longer trip. I probably spent a couple hours on the unicycle. Maybe an hour and a half actually on this trip, and as much as I'd like to show you all the footage, I don't think that you'd want to watch that much. So I've tried to pick out the best parts and share them with you. If you've been thinking about the Sherman-Max as an optional wheel for yourself, I know the Sherman-S is out. I would never discourage you from going that route either. The Sherman-Max, the Sherman-S, I'm sure both are fantastic, although I've not ridden the Sherman-S. But I can speak for the Max, and I'll tell you that its larger battery capacity is awesome, because I can, you know, I can push the wheel a lot harder at lower battery percentages, simply because I know I'm drawing from more cells to produce that energy instead of fewer cells to produce the energy that I'm demanding. Like on the Bigot RS, for example, it's got half the battery size this does. And, you know, once I'm past 85%, you know, I got to start being real careful about how hard I push it. And because, you know, I just don't have that peak power like I did at 100%. But with this wheel, because I've got more cells delivering energy to the motor, I can push it a little bit longer, a little bit harder. And so with the way I like to ride, which is a little faster, that's really nice. If I know I'm going to take a short little jaunt down the road like you've seen me do on previous videos with the Bigot RS HS, then, you know, if I know it's just going to be like 10, 15, maybe 20 miles, it's no big deal. I'll whip that out real quick on the RS. And that's a lot of fun because I like that wheel. It's nimble. It's got a street tire on it. This one's got the knobby, and it's not quite as nimble, but super stable. So perfect for a trip like this. At any rate, if you're interested in getting into this hobby at all and you'd like to make a purchase, I've got a affiliate link in the description box that you can use to make that purchase. It won't change the price for you, but it gives me a little bit of a kickback and helps me create content for the channel. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll catch you in the next one.